message to the men of the 8th Army.
The Battle of El Alamein was the victory that changed the course of the Second World War in North Africa.
It was the first victory we had, really. Up to then we never won a battle, and after that we never lost a battle.
It was described as the beginning of the end of the war by Churchill and sparked the collapse of the Axis powers on the continent.
It's the gun plant for El Alamein.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, which I think you...
Lieutenant Colonel Charlie Cameron is one of the last surviving soldiers from that famous battle, commanding a company in the Queen's Own Cameron Highlanders.
Well, it was a tremendous... The barrage, the war was a very tremendous barrage with guns, which I hadn't experienced before, and nobody had experienced since the last war, I don't think. The main thing, I was very busy trying to keep everybody in the line, because everybody had to be kept separate. They had to be rather like we have now with COVID. You had to be 10 yards from the next door person, so that one shell wouldn't do too much damage. And that was what I was very busy at when we were advancing, and also keeping direction and keeping speed. We had to keep the speed of 100 yards in 2 minutes. If you were quicker than that, you were under your own guns.
The victory would see the Allied powers continue their advance against the enemy across the desert. But Lieutenant Colonel Cameron couldn't join them on the final push.
I was wounded in El Alamein. Yes, I got a bit of shell in my arm, which sent me back to Cairo and hospital. And then I got various illnesses after that, dysentery and so forth. So I was in the hospital really for about 2 months.
But his war was far from over, and he rejoined the regiment on the other side of the Mediterranean for the Italy campaign, and was commended for leading his company in capturing Reggiano Ridge under heavy enemy fire. And I believe you were awarded the Military Cross?
And I got that at the end. Well, I don't know why.
He was one of the men who signed up for the Territorial Army when war broke out, joining the regular army units fighting on multiple fronts.
Yes, well, I joined the Territorials in February 1939. When the war started, we were very amateurs too. We were very untrained. And we had no equipment. We had all sorts of requisitioned vans and buses to get around in 1939-40. And then I went abroad in 1942 to fight and move forward Alamein. And then I ended up the war in Italy. We trained, of course, from 1939-1942. So we were quite well trained by the time we went abroad. So we had to be, because we were in action, so it was in 6 weeks from after arriving.
He remained in the Territorial Army until 1960, eventually commanding his own battalion. Now, at 100 years old, he continues to take a great interest in today's Army Reserves, seeing what's changed since his days in the service at the home of 7 Scots.
We're incredibly proud of our history, and especially somebody like Colonel Charlie. His generation just speaks to what the soldiers of today draw on. They draw on their huge inspiration, their example, and I think for us in our 15th year as a new regiment, we can look back on history with some pride, but we look forward, and we absolutely always look forward, and that's what he encourages us to do as well.
A man who played his part in one of the most famous victories in the Second World War. An inspiration to these modern-day soldiers, but this humble 100-year-old doesn't see it that way. To him, he was just doing his duty. David Civils-McCann, Forces News, Perth. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe to our channel.